Okay. I am here. Here I am. Yay. Welcome back to Lake Guntersville to our yoga practice with tons of space around us so we can practice as a community with the people who are gathered here, as well as anybody else who feels like joining in from our various communities, either my body awareness group of yogis over at the Prancing Peacock or the RVE group. Anybody who's joining us, welcome. We'll begin by finding a comfortable seat, whatever that translates to you. Sometimes sitting on the ground isn't your preferred place, so know that you can always make any adjustments. Maybe put your back up against a support, or even lay down through your meditation if you remember that you are meditating, not taking a nap. So welcome to the practice. And as we find our comfortable seat, make your choices here. This is beautiful scenery, and so you may want to close your eyes while you meditate. That's an option and one that's usually chosen, but you could also use anything in this beautiful landscape as something to allow your gaze to rest upon, and use that as your dharana. Your dharana is your single point of focus. So if you prefer to leave your eyes open throughout the meditation, just find something and allow the eyes to rest on a singular object. And as we come to that seat of meditation, we begin to open up the gateways of ease by relaxing all the muscles of the face, allowing the muscles around the eyes to soften and relax, and all the muscles of expression to simply soften so that there's neither a frown nor a smile. We drop away our masks, those that we put forward and those that we hold private to ourselves. Relaxing the jaw, softening the tongue, allowing the tongue to come to rest in the bed that's created by the lower jaw. Perhaps even allowing the teeth to slightly separate so that there is no need to think about clenching or grinding. And all tension, all stress begins to flow off the back like this gentle waterfall gliding along either side of the spine, bathing the spine in this hydration. And with it, as the water gently flows off the shoulders and down the back, it takes with it every bit of stress. We relax the abdomen so that there's place for expansive breath. With each inhalation, the body opens, the lungs expand. And with each exhalation, we release and let go of anything that no longer serves us. Finding all the parts of the body that connect to the heart's surface beneath you, and allowing them to be our connection to this present moment, to take us to a place of being grounded, secure, nurtured, nourished, and cared for by our collective community, whether they're close by or virtual. And then allow the breath to become your guide, feeling all of its sensations. Feeling the expansion of the body as the air enters the lungs. And the softening release as we let go of the parts that no longer serve us. To quiet the mind, choose one aspect of breath. If you've chosen to close your eyes, if you've left your eyes open and are connected to a visual dharana, stay there. But if you've chosen to close your eyes, perhaps notice the sensation of the breath as it enters the body. Maybe its temperature or its level of humidity, whatever most gathers your attention. And then allow the brain to follow that sensation so it makes its transition from thought to feelings, from words to sensations. And at any time that you notice your brain is chattering, that you're having difficulty staying focused, you find yourself in an internal conversation, simply remind yourself, not now, I'll come back to that later, and escort your attention back to the dharana, back to your point of concentration. And when you feel ready, invite the hands to heart center, palms gently touching. And as the hands rest in this heart space, invite an intention to surface. Maybe asking, what is my heart's truest desire? And allowing that answer to inform your intention. This intention is a way of us taking yoga off the mat. So as you begin to notice that intention formulating, notice how it presented itself, and we will invite all of our senses to offer input. So perhaps it started as a phrase or words, a sound. See if you can add an image. What does it look like? Who's there? What's its color? Does it have a scent or a flavor? Maybe not so much a taste, but a flavor. Maybe you'll notice if it's in a specific place that there's a scent that goes along with it. Be creative. And what emotions do you feel? How does this intention touch you? And with that intention set, if it's part of your practice, we're going to release that intention, open our practice, and unite our community by sharing the vibration of Om. You can either listen or join in. We'll prepare with an inhale. Releasing the hands from the heart and gently opening your eyes if you chose to close them. And maybe we'll help our legs out of meditation seat if they're still there, bringing those legs out in front, finding your sits bones as they connect to the earth. Toes are pointing toward the ceiling, lifting up in the front body, bringing those shoulders back and down. We come to Dandasana pose. This is our seated mountain pose. And a really great practice to put into your daily activity, since we all sit over our computers all day long and we may find that this is somewhat of a challenging pose to be able to spend any amount of time sitting in this upright posture, especially since those of us here in Lake Guntersville are sitting on a dock with no back supports or even any props. May have just a little bit more challenge. We're going to have a slow, gentle practice for today. So now that you've felt Dandasana and stretched those legs out, pick any leg position that feels good for you. If you want to stay there, that's fine. Doesn't matter what the leg position is. We'll begin by warming up the upper body, starting with the neck. So each time that we come to a place of warming up an area, we're going to try and isolate our movements to only that area. So thinking about movements only around the neck space. Chin is going to begin parallel to the floor. We'll prepare with an inhale. And as you exhale, let the chin drop to the heart space, opening up the back of the neck. Inhale back to center. Exhale the eyes to the sky. Inhale back to center. Exhale the chin to the heart. Let your own breath decide how quickly or slowly you move through this yes nod. Maybe even thinking about what thoughts it provokes, since we are in a yes nod. What do we choose to say yes to? And is it always the answer that we were wanting to give? The next time you find yourself at center, take a cleansing breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling and release. We'll inhale to prepare. And as you exhale, let that head rotate to look over that right shoulder, trying to keep the shoulder blades toward the spine, back and down. The whole torso remains facing forward as we inhale back to center. Exhale, look over that left shoulder. And we inhale back to center. Exhale to the right. Letting your own breath pace inform your movement of how quickly or slowly you create these movements. Perhaps there'll be a place that you find that has a little bit of tension or tenderness that you want to stop, explore, and have a few breaths there. So feel free to stop the movement if the body requests your attention, to notice. Always remember, relax the jaw, soften the tongue. And the next time you find yourself at center, enjoy that cleansing breath. Preparing with an inhale. And with the exhale, the right ear finds the right shoulder. So the head tilts to the right. We inhale back to center. Head tilts to the left. Again, following the previous cues of following your breath and noticing if it's only the neck that's moving. Check in with the side body. Make sure that the end of the sides of the torso aren't creating the movement, but it's all in the neck, and that the head comes to the ear rather than the shoulder hiking. The ear comes to the shoulder rather than the shoulder hiking to find the ear. And when you're ready, Come on back to center. Let's begin to warm up the rest of the spine, bringing the arms out to the side. And as you do, turn those shoulders out so that they open here in the shoulder joint itself. Palms are facing the ceiling. And remember, there is no right pose. Depending on what your body has to offer today or at any other time, maybe any injuries, that every angle we choose is a pose. So we can inhale and reach out and rise up. As the arms come to shoulder height, allow the shoulder blades to drop toward the earth as the arms make their journey to overhead. If you have a shoulder injury, you may look more like this. It doesn't matter where the arms end up. This is body awareness yoga. Take an inhale. As you exhale, turn those hands away and push away anything that no longer serves you. In body awareness yoga, we're looking for the places that are asking us to explore, with less of a focus on whether I'm doing it right and more of the focus in what sensations do I feel in my body. As we inhale and rise up, feel the weight of that gravity and what it takes to move slowly. The exhale lets those arms come back to the sides. We'll let that happen one more time. Inhale and rise up. Exhale and push it away. We're going to have a simple twist to the right next. Inhale and rise up, gathering up all that energy around you with whatever range of motion the shoulders and the spine have. Exhale, left hand finds the right knee, right hand rests behind you. Take a few breaths here and enjoy the sensations of this twist. Maybe taking in the landscape and noticing, what is it that you see? What did the eyes choose to stop and gaze upon? Reaching out as we inhale, opening up those arms, bringing them up overhead or any place that fits in your practice. Exhale, we come to the left. Right hand rests on the left knee. Left hand just behind us, choosing to look straight ahead, or if the neck allows, to rotate and look back over that shoulder. Find your breath. Notice if it's flowing with ease. That's our way of measuring whether this practice is accessible, if the breath continues to flow with ease. Inhale and rise up, coming back through center. And if it feels right, interlace those fingers, turn the palms to the sky and stretch. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, bring those arms out in front and let that spine round just a little bit as we open up those shoulders. With the next inhale, we bring those arms up, remembering again that any angle you choose to stop at, with both arms up or one down, is a perfect pose for you. Exhale and bring those arms back to center. We're going to come to a forward fold, but we're going to do it and make it a little bit accessible by letting the knees stay bent. So we're going to bring both soles of the feet together. This is butterfly pose, and you can have nice, big, expansive wings, or you can bring those as close to the torso as feels appropriate. So the further away they are, the more room and space you'll have to hinge forward. So finding that place that feels accessible, taking a deep inhale. And as you exhale, without letting ourselves collapse into the front of the spine, we'll just hinge at those hips. Again, it doesn't matter how far we go. What we're looking for are those first edges that ask us to stop. So an edge could be my body is stiff here. Maybe the hamstrings or the inner thighs or the low back showed you a signal of being stiff or perhaps even tender. That's your first edge. And when we have a long held stretch where we challenge that edge, that's where healing begins. It's in the place that the stiffness or the limitation begins. So we wait and challenge that spot, allowing the breath to flow with ease. So there is some science, the science of stretch, that suggests that this is a great way to introduce a natural anti-inflammatory into the body, that this reduces inflammation by holding these stretches and letting the body have its chance to soften, to let go, and to continue its migration forward without effort, without pulling, without us having an ego that wants us to be someplace else, but accepting the place where we are right now in this moment. Just take a couple of breaths. Butterfly pose is a great place to hang out. It's the quintessential yin pose. This challenges and opens up, pressurizes the kidney meridians, and when the kidneys work well, the rest of our organs have a much better starting place. So here we work on this kidney meridian on the insides of the thighs and down the legs to make sure there's no blockage or any obstruction, to clear flow. With your next breath, begin your inhalation and walk yourself back up to upright, maybe allowing those hands to help the knees back to their center position and to round out that spine. So this might be a good time to just hug into those knees and drop your head, resting, opening up that back body, and feeling this bit of a counter pose. And then walking yourself back up to a seated position. We're going to come to our Z pose. We had a request locally for something with the hips, and I know that if you're joining me from my body awareness class, this is one of your favorites. So we're going to take this right leg. So there's a couple of different ways to do Z pose. We have half Z pose or full Z pose. So I'll show you both. We're going to take this right leg, and if it's accessible, you're going to turn it behind you like this. And you don't have to bring it in tight. You should have some space where it's out to the side. Then we're going to take that left leg, and we're going to put the toe in alignment with the knee. If this is challenging and you know that that's difficult, you can keep that right leg outstretched. So this would be half Z pose. They're both good choices, right? So whichever one is comfortable for you, that's where we're going to be. Now we're going to take our left hand and we're going to put it on the side of our left leg. The right hand is going to rest on the right thigh. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale physically with that hand, you're going to rotate that leg in and turn and look behind you. Inhaling back to center. Exhale. Take an inhale and turn it in. So you'll let your breath decide what's going to happen, allowing the inhale and the exhale to monitor these movements and really opening up this hip by turning it into the internal position and then letting it relax back to neutral. So we're lubricating that hip joint with our movements. I know that any morning that I come to my mat and my hip hurts, it usually feels a whole lot better when I finish this. Make sure the movement is happening here. Notice as we come through it, we're almost in a straight line in this side body, and then we come back to our mat with the hip. You could make the choice to stay in this position and give it 3 or 4 breaths to really open up that hip, to stretch it, to give it some time to reduce any inflammation that might be around that hip by having this longer held engagement at that first edge. And then exhale and bring it back. Looks like we might get some sun here right now at Guntersville. Right? So we notice where we are and what our body is asking for. Right? You know, sometimes it looks like yoga is a pretzel, but really it is, what does my body want to do today? And every day you come to your mat, that might be something different, depending on your other activities. Next time you find yourself in that center position, and also remember, this is your practice. If I move on at any time that you're like, I'm still opening up this thing, stay where you are. You don't have to stay with me. We're going to take that right hand and help the right leg to the front position and the left leg to the back position. Or to half. So I'm going to show this one a couple of rotations as half pose. I should have done that for the first side. Sorry about that. Right hand is going to come out to the side. Left hand will rest on the thigh, taking an inhale. And as you exhale, just turning it in. So this might be your half pose if your knee isn't happy being back in that position or your hip in any way. And we'll let this opening of the hip joint itself be our focus, with a little twist to the spine, or if you prefer, full Z pose. And then bringing that foot around to the front whenever you're ready. Good. And we've missed one really important part of the body, and that's our side body. So again, taking that left hand down to the side, any leg position you would like. You can be out in front or to the side. We're going to let that left hand be our support. The right hand is going to come out to the side. Again, being mindful of any limitations that you have, shoulder, hips, the spine, whatever it is, we're still looking to have gentle movement. So inhale and reach that hand out. Right here, that shoulder blade begins to drop down so that when we arrive, the shoulder is already back and down. Exhale here. Then take an inhale and reach with those fingertips right across the side body, keeping that shoulder back, resisting the temptation to twist forward by bringing that shoulder back. You could always have that elbow bent if that's if that assists in the shoulder position. Or if you knew you had a shoulder stiffness, you could have that arm at your side and just open up the side body. There's always an option for everybody. We just listen to our body. Turn that hand toward the sky. Inhale and let it lead you back to center, nice and slow, and bringing you all the way back. We're going to transition to the left side. So the right hand is now the support hand, left hand out to the side. Inhale and rise up, shoulder blade descends, fingertips engage. When you find that bicep next to your ear, exhale. Inhale and reach, opening up that side body, maybe moving that hand just a little bit further away if you need to. Turn the hand to the sky. Inhale, let that lead you back to center. Good. And then shake out those shoulders. Maybe roll them to the back. Roll them to the front. Whatever feels good. So we have a really fun pose that really opens up the face. It opens up the breath. Doesn't always look all that fantastic, but it's okay because the only face you'll have to see is mine and nobody will see yours. So we're going to come right to lion's pose, taking a nice deep breath. And it looks like this. Inhale again. And because it's so much fun and it looks so good, let's do it one more time. Take a deep inhale. Let that tongue come back in. Notice how your jaw feels. Yeah, we're all like wiping spittle off our jaw, of our chin. So come right on in. We're going to come to a pose that's a little challenging, but it is pretty good for opening up the thighs and the hip flexors, and we can still stay somewhat close to the earth. So the very first thing is we're going to bring our feet to one side and find tabletop pose. So if you know that you have a shoulder that does not want to do that, you can easily do this pose seated. You don't have to come to tabletop to do it. Fingers are spread wide. Our pressure is on the forefinger and the thumb. Elbow creases face each other. Eyes are looking at the mat. Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, drop that tailbone and let the back body begin to arch, raising up toward the sky. Cat pose. Inhale into dog tilt. The tailbone rises and the front of the spine arches toward the earth. Eyes come up. Letting your own breath decide. Exhale. How fast or slow you move, allowing one vertebra at a time to articulate. Noticing the parts of the spine that move with ease and the parts of the spine that take their neighbors along with them. Send the breath any place that feels it needs it. And after your third rotation, find your flat back. And take your inhale. And as you exhale, come back to the pose of the child, reaching those arms to any place that feels comfortable. Maybe you come into a wide-legged child's pose if this is not your favorite pose. So pick a place that is accessible in any depth. And we come into this very playful but reverent pose, bowing to the earth, honoring the mother, being grateful for all that's provided through nourishment and nurturing. From child's pose, we're going to inhale back to tabletop. Feet are flat on the ground. If you know that maybe your knees are a little tender, you can always roll up your mat and give yourself a little bit more of a cushion. So we're going to come to a kneeling position. Feet are flat if that's available to you. Good. And from here, we're going to lift up. So take an inhale, and as you exhale, really engage this lower core. So you do that with a deep exhale. So if you put your hand right here and go, you'll feel this get a little hard, and the pubic bone will lift and the tailbone will drop, and you get straighter in your seat. So let's do that just a couple of times. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, the core engages. Good. And with that core engaged, take an inhale, exhale. Arms are going to come out to the side, and maybe this is enough of a stretch for those hip flexors if you have any hip flexion, low back problems, anything like that. This might be exactly where you want. Or you can take an inhale and bring those arms up in front. So we're opening up the whole front of the body right here. You might feel that stretch coming right through that psoas muscle. Exhale. We notice how hard it is to hold our body up and how much strength it builds. Take an inhale. Exhale. You can bring your arms down, right? If you want, you can come all the way back till they hit your heels, but that doesn't matter. You can just have this tiny little opening in those hips, this tiny little pull back. You'll feel that right in those quadriceps, right? So inhale back to that center position. Exhale, let it come back a little bit. Yes, you will think of me tomorrow. Inhale, bring it up one more time. And so we never have to worry, oh, am I all the way in camel pose? Exhale. Maybe you're just coming to wherever it feels right. And then inhale back to center. And then find your feet. Hero's pose. What a beautiful day it is out. I'm pretty excited to be out here right now, sharing this practice here in this open space. But Larry just showed me the time and made me realize that it's time for Shavasana. And he came back to our practice just in time to join us. So for Shavasana, you're just going to allow your mat to come back to its fullest length. If you brought a blanket with you or a towel, you might feel that you want to put it on top of your body, or maybe even as a pillow for your head. I'm going to move off for a minute and give you this because you didn't bring a blankie with you. There you go. Yes. As we come back, I'm just going to assist a few people getting ready. So find your Shavasana. Take this moment to get yourself set up in one of the most comfortable positions that you can find. Traditionally, we would be lying flat on our back, but of course you can always add a prop if that feels right for you. And as you come down into Shavasana, we're going to take this moment to release the need to do anything. Shavasana is the final resting pose. It's the practice of being, not doing. So release your need even to follow your breath. Let the body breathe you. Find all the parts of the body that are connected to the hard surface beneath you. And let these be the reminder that you're grounded, with community, nourished, nurtured, protected. Notice all the parts of the body that are open to the air element above you. Feel the weight of gravity. And acknowledge that the heart is open so that we share our love, our light, and to also accept the fact that we have vulnerabilities. And then step away from everything. My voice will get silent, and I'll give you a few minutes, but know that I will call you back shortly. Compass. Don't despair when all seems bleak. Permanence is an illusion. As good times fade, so do bad. As if they're in collusion. Dance with me to the beat of life's ongoing pulsations. Our hearts beat together. bright and gray weather, docking in one station. You're my North Star when I am lost. Your twinkle guides my way. I am grateful for our beautiful life and look forward to each new day. Allow the breath to begin to deepen. And notice all the parts of the body that begin to open to accept the breath. And begin to build on the subtle movements of breath by adding movements to the body, wiggling the fingers and toes, maybe rocking the head from side to side. Whatever it takes, come back. Making your choice. Maybe it's bringing the knees up into the heart and rocking from side to side, massaging your back against the hard surface beneath you, or stretching your arms up overhead and pushing out through the soles of the feet, finding the longest stretch for you today. Whatever that transition is, we release the final resting pose, the ending, and roll over onto that right side, the fetal position, a new beginning. So we let go and start again. As you come to that side-lying pose, know that this pose has been with you since the date of conception. It's familiar. And as you become ready for your new start, outstretch that top leg and allow the hands to assist you back to your seat of meditation, creating this full circle to where the practice began. And as we invite our hands to heart center, allow your intention to come back into the forefronts of your thoughts and feelings. Revisit it. Keep it close. We can end our practice the way we began, keeping our community united through vibration, raising the vibration for peace and wellness by sharing or listening to the vibration of Om, preparing with a deep breath. May all thoughts be divinely inspired. May all words be authentic and true. May all hearts be touched with love and joy. And may the time that we devote to our practice of compassion bring peace to all beings. Om Shanti. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me, and thank you to Sherry Hank for your beautiful words that infuse all of my classes. Have a great day. And have one last look before Larry turns the camera off. It's beautiful out here.
The sun is coming in.